Latest Manchester United news, and it's coming from the Athletic on Kobbie Mainoo. We also want to have a chat around the bomb squad. With that transfer deadline day fast approaching, 4 out of the 5 are still here. As usual, please get involved in the chat, have your own say, and we'll discuss it throughout today's video. 4 out of the 5 are still here at the bomb squad. A lot of talk now ramping up, really, around Kobbie Mainoo. An article that we're going to get into from the Athletic shortly. Where should we start, or what do you want to say first? Go on.
Well, there was a plan at the end of the season. I didn't see the plan envisaging Kobbie Mainoo going out, being sold. Well, that's the talk. It looks as though that's going to happen. Will it happen now, or will it happen in the future? He's certainly considering leaving the club, and United are certainly interested in listening to offers. So for me, Kobbie Mainoo is a good player, but as Ruben Amorim said, his place to the team is blocked by Bruno.
Yeah, he did actually say in training that he's fighting against Bruno for a starting position and minutes into this Manchester United team. And I think it first come out on Monday. I think it was from Alex Crook talking about Mainoo and his future here at Manchester United, that he's been discussing it about the possibility of leaving. And it's only just ramping up, especially today now. The lads from the Athletic, who are good sources on information around Manchester United, and a bit that I've got highlighted on screen, as you can see. They're discussing back in January when Chelsea inquired about the availability of Mainoo during that window, and officials were quoted £70 million for Mainoo. And now there's a belief in United that he would accept around £45 million, potentially even less, as the deadline draws closer.
I think when that £70 million was quoted, you look at what the men in suits were saying. They were saying every player has a price. So if a price comes in, someone comes and bids, then we'll look at it. Obviously, the 70 million didn't come in, but at this moment in time, they're looking at 45 million for an academy player, very good player, but clearly doesn't fit in this system for Ruben Amorim. He needs more development. That's the conversation from within the club. So for me, Amorim wants him to increase his pace and his rhythm. I think at the end of the day, I look at it and I look at Bruno, the same thing. Them players, Bruno should be moved forward. And I look at Kobbie Mainoo, and Kobbie Mainoo needs to play forward, not in the position they're all talking about. But that's my opinion. I think he hasn't got the pace to get back, Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's more forward playing, gets in the box and everything. So for me, I think everything points that there is no place for him, and the young lad wants to play football, and quite rightly, he's going to talk to his teammates about, hey, you know, look at this, what's going on, I want to play football, I can't get in the team. For me, going forward, there's only one thing going to happen here, and he's going to go, whether he goes now or in January, let's see.
Karen Duffin, welcome to our members club, just on board. And Dan Fenton says, Mainoo is a very good player and should not be sold. And I'm looking at Kobbie Mainoo. He's 20 years old. You know, it's been reported in the Athletic today, the lad's on 20 grand a week. Yeah. I mean, with what I've seen already with Kobbie Mainoo, that's probably far too low on his weekly wage when you're comparing him to the likes of Ahmad, who just recently got a contract. Other players out there in other squads. I mean, Cole Palmer there, I mean, he's on 120, 130 grand at Chelsea, and I think he is deserving on a higher wage per week at United, but it's something up to now they've not managed to solve and negotiate currently. And I think a lot of this talk has obviously stemmed from the post-match comments from Ruben Amorim about him fighting in training for that position with Bruno Fernandes. And I think a bit of it is coming from the agent briefing it. But I can understand that, because Mainoo himself will want to know what his future holds here at Manchester United. Yeah. And he probably does, and thinks he's deserving on a higher increase than what he currently is. There's talk out there of 180 grand a week from other newspapers, other journalists out there, which right now, personally, I do take with a pinch of salt, but I do think he's deserving of an increase in his wages. And I'd like to see Kobbie Mainoo stay in this transfer window, and I do highly think that he will stay. But his future under Amorim, I'm not too sure about that long term, and I think that might be revisited if Amorim is still here come next summer. again in the transfer window, because Manchester United do need midfielders in there. With Casemiro aging, he's been here probably a season or two too long. You've got Agati in there. I'm not too sure he's ever going to be Amorim's first choice in there. And it's been reported over the last 3 weeks, Amorim wants a ball-winning midfielder in there. And it's as though, like, maybe there might have to be 1 or 2 sacrifices to get that player in. Who knows?
Well, it's all about high intensity with this squad. And Kobbie Mainoo, Ruben Amorim believes he hasn't got it. But the thing is, he's a young lad. He's a very, very good player. Yes, he's on 20 grand a week. And I agree with Kieron. I think his wages should be increased. And to get rid of him in a time of change with the squad, the club and everything else, and he has got the potential to go on to be a good player. Before his injury, he had all the plaudits everywhere. So for me, I think this would be a massive mistake in the squad, getting rid of him. Ruben Amorim wants a small squad, and you know that the men in suits will look for something where there's a bargain, and there's a bargain here, there's money to come in, because they know the manager can't fit him in. So they just look at it from a cash point of view. Let's cash in on a young player and it's all profit. So for me, I think it'd be a big mistake getting rid of him, because what does it say to the other players? What does it say to the other young players coming through? Look, your place is blocked. You look at the forwards, for instance. So we've signed forwards, we've signed goal scorers. So the kids and the youth and all that will be looking at that saying, well, for the next 3-4 years, our place is blocked. They won't be too happy about that. And I think Kobbie Mainoo's not too happy about it. And he's quite right to discuss his future.
Yeah, and I don't get the sense, I don't know about yous out there, like I mentioned before, I think it's been quite clear with the reports out there, his preference is a ball-winning midfielder, more so than the likes of bringing in a like-for-like of a Kobbie Mainoo, a Bruno Fernandes, let's say an Adam Wharton. So if they were to sell Kobbie Mainoo in this transfer window, I can't see us actually bringing that player in, you know, to replace Kobbie, or even bringing that ball-winning midfielder in this late in the transfer window as well, especially when you're looking at Baleba over at Brighton, you know, the price tags that are being talked about over there at the moment as well.
I think when you look at the system, Kobbie Mainoo's never going to do the job in this system, because behind him there is not a ball-winning player who goes straight across, cuts it out, and who's got the intensity. Bruno in that position, it's wide open, because behind him, okay, Ruben Amorim's put him in that position. We clearly know there's a big gap there and it's not working, and that's because behind we have not got that top-class player. They looked at Baleba, thought he was the man, and they didn't go for him. So for me, when you look at Bruno, when you look at Kobbie Mainoo, very good players going forward in a higher role, but behind them, the player's not there. And I think they're both suffering. I think Kobbie Mainoo will suffer in this system. 2 men in the midfield, not a decent player behind who's doing the job. And Bruno himself is suffering. Bruno's running around all over, and that tends to what happens to the team when you haven't got that holding midfielder behind them.
I think the optics from a fan point of view, I think it would be toxic out there, especially if we did sell Mainoo in this transfer window. And like we mentioned before, that bomb squad, the 4 out of the 5 are still here come this transfer window closing as well. I think that's what people are looking at out there, and it's maybe pulling on the heartstrings of some of the fans out there. And you've also got to remember, the media with Manchester United fans are very, very good at that. They know how to get clicks and they know how to ramp up stories. So at the moment with me, from the Athletic this morning, I'm not too concerned that he will leave in this transfer window. And let's face it as well, you know, he's a young lad, you know, from all accounts, he's got his feet on the floor. He's very grounded.
Yeah.
He wants to work hard in training. There's been no news or rumours out there that he's not putting it in training. Let's see how he goes and develops this season in trying to push Bruno out of that place. But that's the biggest problem with a lot of fans. They can't see Bruno being dropped. I mean, Bruno plays even when he's carrying a knock, and he's done that under Erik ten Hag, and he's done it under Ruben Amorim.
It's mad, isn't it, when you look at it? The bomb squad was there. No other club has this problem. No other club. Getting rid of players, no other club has it. And then suddenly, Højlund's going. And then a really good academy player, right, who's got a future, and he has got a future, is suddenly, possibly, could leave. Whether he leaves now or not is debatable. But then you look at it and think, no other club has struggled with players in the background like we have, and we've got a bomb squad there what we can't get rid of, and then we're contemplating. This is the thing what United fans are bothered about. He has the potential. We know he's a good player, but it doesn't suit that system at the moment, and he can't get past Bruno, and Bruno doesn't suit that system.
The thing is, though, I'm not on the same page as some fans out there where they want Kobbie Mainoo starting every game in that midfield too. I think at his age and the football he's already played, he's shown to me anyway, he's definitely got a high ceiling and the potential there to be a top player. But I want him to see being given rotation minutes this season, being given minutes in the last 20. You know, if Manchester United do need a goal or need someone to control the midfield, you know, in the build-up play going forward, because we have seen it with Mainoo in big games since he stepped onto the scene at United. He can produce, whether that's creating something or grabbing a goal. But I expect him to be expected to be given minutes by Amorim, and I expected that in the Fulham game over the weekend, especially when then you see Mason Mount dropping into the midfield too, Agati then coming in. I mean, I thought it was perfect for Mainoo in the last 20 minutes, that game, to come in and like grab it by the scruff of the neck.
I think a lot of United fans thought it was perfect to come on, but clearly Ruben Amorim is bombing him out. That's how a lot of United fans see it, that he's not giving him that opportunity to turn a game round. So he's got other views, he's got other ideas. He loves Mason Mount, he loves his intensity, the way he runs around and everything else like that. He gives loads of praise for Mason Mount, but
you can't argue with that as well based on Mason Mount's performances in the first two games as well. I mean, he's been one of our best players, I think, along with De Ligt. Cunha's looked positive and bright as well. Mason Mount does need to start the next game as well. I'm not saying Grimsby, but the game on the weekend. You can't get him out of the team right now, Mason Mount, with what he gives you going forward, but also defensively. I understand that, but dropping him into a midfield too, it's like Bruno, it's two totally different players.
Yeah,
that's the problem I have.
The problem is he can't get the start at the moment. Ruben Amorim doesn't see him as starting, but that doesn't mean to say you have to get rid of him. Okay, we're going to pick up injuries, and that's the way it's going. We've got players leaving for the AFCON in December and January, so there will be places available, and that's why I believe Kobbie Mainoo won't be sold and he'll be kept here, and then he'll be given his opportunity. And Ruben Amorim keeps talking about him. He needs to increase his pace and rhythm. So for me, he's developing. He has to really nail it on given the opportunity. But I do not blame Kobbie Mainoo talking and coming out about looking to get out, because if he isn't being guaranteed even a chance to get on the pitch, then there is no point in being here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just going to go into the chat. Ansel, thanks for your super chat, my mate. He says, all of the anger is about results.
Yes.
If we were winning, fans should be calm. No more sentimentality. Earn your place or leave the whole squad. And I do get that based on the performances by the whole squad last season. I don't think any of them could have complained if they were up for sale this summer, and I still do have that view. It's just that with what I've seen over Mainoo at such a young age, yes, he's played a lot of football, but also by that standard, I do think he's got a high potential to fit in a team. And you've got to look at it and be honest with ourselves. We're backing the manager. We expect to see improvement this season, but to go and sell a young lad with that potential he's got before we've seen improvement in the team from the manager, I think is a huge mistake, because if a manager then does come in and sets up a new system, etc., Kobbie Mainoo might find himself back in the team and a regular starter. So until I see improvement in the team from the manager and the way we play, I would not want to get rid of a talent like Kobbie Mainoo. And no, that's just my opinion.
No, he should have opportunities this year. There's no two ways about it. But it is strange that they're trying to get him out. So for me, Kobbie Mainoo, I think he will stay. I think there will be opportunities, but if them opportunities don't come before Christmas, then quite rightly, I think Kobbie Mainoo will just turn around, put his foot down and say, get me out of this football club. For me, it's going to be a small squad, and it's going to be very difficult once this team and this club is back on its front feet going forward. I don't like what's going on inside the club. I look at the men in suits and that, and, you know, they've let themselves down. They haven't got rid of the bomb squad. And here we are talking about potentially a really good footballer. The man made himself available for England, got into that England squad. It was a rise so quickly. Yeah. And then he's had just a downward spiral, and Amorim is blocking his way. Now, he's blocking his way He may not get past Bruno. He may not fit the system. And I'm going with the manager. And the manager has to turn it round. And I think that's why people are frustrated. People are angry because the first couple of games, it's not there. We've seen it in pre-season. Everyone was up there saying this is going to be different, and it doesn't look like it at the moment. But it's the first couple of games. Things have got to settle down, come back from the international squad, and you just never know how this squad is going to go forward. So the pressure's on, and everyone just seems to be able to sort of, I can see the future. Well, we can't see the future. So you don't know how it's going to go tonight against Grimsby. We don't know how it's going to go against Burnley because of what we've seen. We're all doubtful that this team is going to gel proper, but I do believe it will. Once the goals start flowing.
Ansel, come back. Thanks for your super chat. He says, I guess it's the 200 grand a week he's demanding then. Like I say, me personally, I'm taking that with a pinch of salt. And I know footballers in that world, they live in a bubble, it's detached from reality, but I don't think they're stupid enough to think and demand 180 or 200 grand a week, because even if he was to leave Manchester United, who would pay Kobbie Mainoo 180 or 200 grand a week? When you look at some of the young players out there who are playing regular, like let's say Cole Palmer, etc. Ahmad just been given 130 grand a week, I think, back in December, which I do think maybe United have made a bit of a rod for their own back there, giving that Ahmad, and maybe Mainoo's thinking to himself, well, I've probably done a bit more than you since I broke into this team at Manchester United. I deserve what you're getting, and you can understand that. I mean, players all talk, and a lot of it probably will be, well, how much are you on, and you're on this. I think that kind of talk will happen.
When you look at a player, especially a young player, you have to say to yourself, is this player a good player? Is he going to get better? Well, you look at him, he started for Manchester United, then he made the England squad. On that alone, wherever you look at any football club, right, you need to nail down that player because the potential going forward is a high ceiling. So it's on 20 grand a week. Is that the true figure? I'm not 100% sure on that. But whatever it is, it's not a high figure. So getting in the England squad and the potential going forward to what he can be for Manchester United going forward, he should have automatically been given a pay increase. Yes, we can argue what's out there. He wanted 180, he wanted 160. We can argue what United may have wanted to offer him and that, but he should have been given a reasonable increase in his contract, because you don't want a player to be unsettled who has got, and I mean this, he's got great potential going forward, and they should have nailed it down. All this, he would have just been sat there, working hard, getting in there, happy with his contract, and knowing that he was going to get opportunities going forward. So for me, this is a storm what could have been avoided, to be honest.
I mean, they always look as well in the background, in the under-21s, the academy, and I look at it when you're hearing news like this, that Manchester United are calm, but they're also open maybe to sell Mainoo if a good offer does come in. And I can't really see any of the youngsters who are at Kobbie's level or even above that who could come into the first team squad and then challenge Bruno or fight Bruno in training, as Amorim puts it. I mean, the two lads that I can only see in that position are currently out on loan, and that's Toby Collier and Dango. So again, if you was to sell Mainoo right now, I mean, it doesn't look like you'd actually get any replacements in for him.
Well, I look at Dango and I look at Collier, and they'll be back with this team. They're out getting their education, and they're going to get some good football, and I do like them, to be honest with you. So they may be seen next season, and they will be looked at as if to say, can they fit in this squad? At this moment, Mainoo can't get in it, and I just look at it, the plan to sell, to buy, has just not worked at all, because that bomb squad's here, and we just seem to be getting rid of players who we never thought of.
Yeah, just going back into the chat. Aminor Rashid, thanks for your super chat. It says, where is the evidence he demanded 200k per week? I totally agree with you, mate. Like I mentioned before, take it with a pinch of salt. We discussed this yesterday and actually put up the reports there from the journalists out there from different news sources saying that he was demanding £180,000 a week. And I just don't see that. I don't think they're stupid enough to demand that kind of money, especially when no other club out there will give Mainoo that. But I totally agree, though, that from on 20 grand a week, he deserves that pay rise. I really do think that, especially when I go back to it, when they're giving out contracts like they have done to Ahmad.
This is the thing we warn everyone when you hear people talking about players are demanding this and players are on this in the contracts and that. And we just say, well, look, what can we do? We can't prove what the reports are saying, what people are saying. And we just take it with a pinch of salt. Will he be on 20 grand? I think he'll be on a little bit more, to be honest. Did he ask for 180? I very much doubt that.
Yeah. And you've got to just look at the likes of Garnacho. I think in this squad, is he on about 50 grand a week, Garnacho?
Supposedly.
I mean, you look around the team and what he's done over the last couple of years, and then he's looking at that probably again, Mainoo. And you've got to understand that the agents out there for footballers are trying to get the best deals constantly for their players. And I just think that this whole news around Mainoo in the last 48 hours is probably agent-based, where he's probably briefed certain journalists that he might be unhappy, which you can expect. I mean, as a young lad, he wants to play football. I mean, what a difference that actually makes that one of the young lads wants to play football and get minutes here at Manchester United instead of just sitting on the bench and trying to get a new contract.
But this report coming from The Athletic has got some substance to it.
Yeah.
There is some substance to it. To quote that they were offered 70 million, we know that in January, and now it's down to 45 million pound. There is some substance to it. So they might be just sort of saying to Kobbie Mainoo, look, if you want to go, we'll take 45 million. And if a deal can be done, that's fine. We're happy to take it, because at the moment we could use the 45 million.
Yeah, I look at it and I look at Bruno in the centre of that midfield. I don't think Kobbie Mainoo does a worse job than Bruno defensively, to be quite honest with you. Even at such a young age, I mean, Bruno can switch off. Certain moments in games can send Bruno a little bit doolally, as we've seen with that missed penalty against Fulham. And the manager even highlighted that after the game. And I just think Kobbie Mainoo in that position, he should be given more minutes, especially rotation minutes. And you look over the summertime, they went and brought in 2 number 10s, Bruno's position, Cunha and Mbeumo. Shouldn't Bruno then be fighting for that number 10 position, not moving him to another place, putting a square peg in a round hole? Bruno should be given minutes to prove himself.
Bruno shouldn't be fighting for a number 10 position. We've created a problem by bringing in players where Bruno's had to move out. I think this system in itself has caused problems within the squad. Okay, but this squad is going to change over time. And this is where I give Ruben Amorim a lot of leeway. He's going to change this. He's changing everything else. Yes, it doesn't look right at the moment. It looks a little bit square pegs, round holes kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? That's how it looks. And it's a situation what's been created by Ruben Amorim. But he can't fix the problem. Okay, now we've got another problem. We've got a good player, right, who's possibly going to be a really top player going forward, right, who can't get in it because of Ruben Amorim's system. Now, he's not changing. So what it is as fans, we've just got to sit there and wait till that top player or players are brought into the club. So for me, Ruben Amorim is changing it. It's going to look ugly. It feels ugly. And fans aren't happy. I'm not happy at times.
What it does.
But going forward, it's one step at a time. And I did say, changing the squad, right, with all the change what's going in the club, we're going to have our ups and downs, and things might not look on the eye all rosy. But behind the scenes, there might be a plan. The only plan what's not working at the moment is this.
Getting the bomb squad out. Yeah, the bomb squad, the 4 out of the 5 are still here. And, you're just there in continued talks with the likes of Antony, with Betis, Garnacho, with Chelsea. I'm hearing absolutely nothing at all around Tyrell Malacia, whether he's even whether any clubs are actually interested in him or not. I mean, Rasmus Højlund, it looks more likely he will leave than any of the 4 out of the bomb squad that are still remaining. Talks there advancing with Napoli, where United are actually discussing, terms and transfer fees, loan fees, etc. for this season.
I look at Sancho, and I think a lot of people do, with Garnacho and Antony as well. There's no ambition in these players. People talk. I've even spoken Garnacho. Going forward, he should really be up there He will improve and everything, but I don't see any ambition in these players at all. I think Garnacho's attitude has set him back and will set him back as a footballer to be out, not playing football this long, not having no pre-season, no nothing. This player is going to have a horrendous year. And Sancho and Antony, there's no ambition in them. They're just sat there. And I've always said that them two players especially will just wait till the last day of the transfer window and then they'll get loaned out. I've always said it. The club planning to sell to buy from the end of the season, right, just went pear-shaped because they didn't understand what these players were going to... They've no ambition. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And for Garnacho, you know, it's been clear to me, he's no ambition. He thinks he's right in everything he does, right? He should be playing football. He should be chomping at the bit. And to turn down an opportunity to speak to Bayern Munich just shows you that this bomb squad, how toxic they are behind the scenes. There must be a hell of a lot more stories inside this club, what may come out about these players and their attitude. But I really think when I look at Sancho, he has to be the most toxic player I've ever known.
Just going to catch up on the chat. Fred Cranford has just gifted 5 memberships. Big thank you to Fred, the legend. Fred. 5 people who got them memberships. Big thank you to Fred. And Sel's come back. Thanks for your super chat. I feel Kobbie is a 10 in this system, if I'm honest.
Yeah, no, listen.
Agree with that? Listen,
Kobbie, further forward, that's where I see him. I see him on the edge of the box, okay? I've seen him a couple of times there with Ahmad and playing on the edge of the box and that, and it was exciting football. They're in the box, they're tricky. No one wants to tackle him on the edge of the box when they're running at him. And he gets in the position in the box. That's where I see him. I don't even see him. I'm being truthful. I don't even see what the problem is here, right? He's not, for me, he's not fighting Bruno in that position because I've never ever seen Kobbie Mainoo as that player because I've always said he hasn't got the legs for it. Well, he's playing what's the name? Casemiro. He hasn't got the legs for that job.
So very good point.
One thing goes against the other thing when it comes out of Amorim's mouth. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the rhythm. That's what he's talked about with Kobbie Mainoo. Well, Casemiro hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the rhythm.
Agati has, but he's on the bench.
But Agati's not being given a long run, and he needs it, and he's had a full pre-season, which he didn't have last year. So one thing goes against the other, so which is a head scratcher, but you've got to let things settle down. But Kobbie Mainoo has never, for me, been in that position, and he shouldn't be in that position where he's being told that he's challenging Bruno and Bruno's blocked his place because he's not up to scratch to do that job. I never thought he could do that job. He can do it, but he won't be successful at it. Further forward for me with Mainoo, and the same with Bruno. But hey, Ruben Amorim's turning this club round. He's changing the team, and he's going to build and bring other players in. And let's hope he gets what we all want this year.
I mean, by the sounds of it as well, and, you know, with these reports, if you do believe him that, you know, Mainoo is open to leaving Manchester United and the club are calm about it and would accept offers for him, it's a clear sign, though, that inside that club, though, they're fully backing the manager and what he wants and his decisions, though.
Oh, no, there's no
questions about it.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. The men in suits and Ruben Amorim are aligned in everything what's going on inside that football club. You know, you've seen what the men in suits have done inside there. They've decimated the workforce. They've cut down on so many things and that. And they're doing exactly the same with this squad. And the men in suits are aligned with Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim, it's always been said that he works with a smaller squad, and this is just part of the process. If players are unhappy that they're not getting on the pitch, obviously Kobbie Mainoo's unhappy that his contracts, he's not got more wages, so I can understand it. Kobbie's frustration at that, because he values himself, and I value him, but they're all aligned. If you're not in the team, then you can get out, we can get some money for you. And Ruben Amorim's quite happy because Ruben Amorim, right, is being backed by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the rest of the men in suits, right, because he's got another year and they expect him to bring in other players, better players next season.
I mean, you look at the situation with what Amorim said about fighting with Bruno for that position in midfield. I mean, if we sold Mainoo, and even if we went out there and got Wharton from Crystal Palace, Wharton would find himself in the same position as Kobbie Mainoo because he's fighting against Bruno. And like I've said before, whether Bruno's carrying a knock or not, playing poor in a game or not, under Ten Hag and Amorim, he stays on that pitch. So, you could replace like-for-like players and it's just going to be in the same position. But I will say now, I do expect Manchester United to cash in on Bruno next summer. I think this is Bruno's final season here. And, let's just wait and see on that. I don't believe any of the reports from Saudi that he could be leaving in this transfer window, which some in the chat I've mentioned. But I'm going back into the chat, let's say. Ray Carl Brown, thanks for your super chat. I don't believe in Mainoo's exit because we need to bag 2 midfielders this transfer window in 5 days. I mean, mate, if we went and bagged 2 midfielders in this transfer window now, I mean, I think a lot of fans out there would be absolutely ecstatic if we did, but
you can't see that. Can't see that happening. But
my right arm.
But I agree with it. I don't believe Mainoo will go. I think there's plenty of football for Mainoo to play at Manchester United. I think, like I just said, the AFCON Cup is December, January anyway. He's there, capable of being put in 1 or 2 positions if there's injuries. So for me, I think it's just a false argument at the moment about Kobbie Mainoo being sold. Yes, he's always going to talk about his position with his teammates, so there's little stories coming out there. But to get rid of him, I just do not believe them stories at all. Next season, they might have a look at it, depending on what's happening with Bruno.
Scott Farrell, guys, come on, give fair criticism to Amorim. Stop this free pass from Amorim. If you take yourself back to January last year, mate, I think I was one of the first out on this platform to turn around and say that Amorim's got 10 games this season to show improvement. I'm not talking about real progress. It's in them Champions League spots, top 4 or 5. I just want to see improvement. And if you look at it over the first 2 games, there is positive signs. Look at Mason Mount. Look at the signing in Cunha. He looks a real top quality player that's going to improve us this season. Look at De Ligt. He's looked a monster in the first 2 games. Look at Lenny Yoro. I mean, he's looking a top player in this system at the start of this actual Premier League season. Ahmad as well, if he starts getting more minutes, it looks like he could possibly be the first choice on that right wing-back spot and putting Delo on the bench. I mean, there is positive signs. I mean, yeah, it didn't go well against Fulham. We were in the lead. It's frustrating. We all know that. We want our team to win. And the way Fulham ended up coming back, bypassing the midfield, it wasn't great. But things will take time. But there's 2 non-negotiables this week. We've got to beat Grimsby and we've got to beat Burnley. That's what I'm saying, and that's my opinion. You let me know what yours is.
This is a club which is totally dysfunctional, which is going through a process, okay? I look at this football club and it's gone through 3 massive processes in my lifetime. And that was in the 70s under Tommy Docherty, under Sir Alex Ferguson. We all know the story of Sir Alex Ferguson, how he turned it round. And this club is going through its 3rd stage. And it won't just take a month, a year. It will take a long time. Now, when you have a dysfunctional system, okay, you give criticism and you give fair criticism when it's due, okay? And people will, the manager will, the men in suits will get criticised, but they'll also be praised as well because there's change going on and you can't be top-notch, right, every day and things will go wrong. So when there's criticism due, we'll give it, but we do and have done for a long time in this club, giving them fair criticism and our backing. We back Ruben Amorim, right? But there is also a target and what he has to achieve. And that's not just by us, that's by the men in suits as well, okay? And we demand off the men in suits a target to get things right. And they are not getting everything right because it is a dysfunctional club, okay? Carnage and chaos has been my mantra, okay? And that is how it's going to be. But we will give criticism. We won't pile in, but we'll try and give reasonable criticism where you understand what we're saying.
So, I remember, I think we always give a fair opinion. And the thing about us is we don't keep to any agendas. We just say what we see, whether you out there think it's negative or positive. I remember going back to last season, Erik ten Hag away at Aston Villa. We drew 0-0.
Yeah.
And you come out with positives of what you've seen in that game and based on the build-up to that week of Erik ten Hag being sacked. And most of yous out there come in that comment section after the game. Go back and look at it if you've not seen it and have a look at the state of that comment section. Slagging him down for trying to be positive. Actually looking at things from a different point of view based on what was going on and around the club. And when you actually turned around and said, you know what, I'm over the moon with that 0-0. Based on what's gone on. And then if you look at Manchester United's performances from that point throughout the rest of the season and you guessed it and you said it right, what's to come?
Yeah.
But a lot of yous out there lost your shit. Got in the comment section, button bashing. You're wrong, Tony. You know, why are you being, what is it, positive, negative or something like that? Toxic.
Where's
positivity.
Your
where's your standards? I mean, can you not have one or the other? I mean, like where you can have your standards, but still like realistically see what's going on within the football club and where we are at a football club.
I'll tell you exactly
Instead of going on about standards.
I'll tell you exactly what it was. Manchester United, it was carnage at the time, and Aston Villa were just about to play Bayern Munich, and I think they played them and beat them 1-0. Now they beat Bayern Munich at home 1-0. They were right at the top of the league, right? And United were going there in total disarray. And we worked hard and fought all game to stop Aston Villa scoring. Okay, yeah, we didn't score. But hey, that's nothing new in any game what Manchester United play, right? And every player rolled the sleeve up and fought. And I did not criticise them players because the performance they went out there to do, right, was to stop Aston Villa and get a point, and that point was a vital point.
When you look at it,
and I got slaughtered, but I looked at it and I told you what I seen with my eyes.
Well, that proves, like, you know, you're saying in there, like, we've got some sort of agenda, and like we just say it how we see it. We're not bothered what the agendas and the stories are out there on social media. I mean, we love to see your comments and opinions on there, but our opinions won't sway. Yeah, some of your comments in there, I've looked at sometimes and thought, you know what, that comment there is absolutely bang on. I'm actually pushing more towards their way of thinking than what my original opinion was. But overall, I mean, what we see, especially on a match day, I mean, we support the manager, we support the players, but it's the club first. And we'll always say what we see in isolation on that match day. I mean, there's just no agendas here, and it's as simple as that, believe us or not.
You are allowed, as time goes on, to change your opinion.
Of course you are.
Okay? The problem is some people think, right, you've got to stick to an agenda and you can't change your opinion. Of course you can change your opinion. You change your opinion on what you see and what you're told. Hang
on a minute. On YouTube, you call it a flip-flop, though, if you change your opinion. But I've seen a lot of yous out there as well change your opinions looking back on past comments. And you're allowed to do that when what you might call facts arise, which, you know, we're always looking at stories that are coming out from the likes of The Athletic and that. And you never really see the facts until, like, later on after the actual event occurred as well. So you've just got to make your opinion up on what you see and what you hear. And we're no different than yous out there. We're just fans, do you know what I mean?
I make my opinion up coming up to a game based on me being a Manchester United fan, okay? And also what I feel, okay? And I go back to the FA Cup final when we beat City. I was the only one back in my club saying we were going to win. And I gave the reasons why we was going to win, okay? And not one person thought I was sane. They all thought it was insane. But it's what you feel. And I'm not going to change my opinion on what I feel. If that's how I feel, that's how I feel. And I actually believed it. But hey, you know, we're digressing. It's all about transfers, what's going on with the bomb squad and that. Well, perfectly, what's going on with that bomb squad? Well, not perfectly. It's imperfect. Absolutely nothing.
Simple as Jed said, flip-flop, you don't stop. I think that's actually a tune, that. It's ringing a bell there. I think me and you might be the same age or the same generation, my mate. Ansel, thanks for your super chat. Why would or should Amorim change his system, ? It's what he was recruited for.
Correct.
We bought a dog. Now some are pissed because he's not a bloody cat. One thing I will say, and I've got to be open with you, just like we've discussed here, with our opinions, no agendas here, that with his system, is there a plan B? I mean, he does little tweaks within the system, as the game goes on, the second half, etc. Just like the likes of Mason Mount dropping in as a 10. But 2 years ago, you seen Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen playing with this new hipster system with 3 at the back, and everyone was raving about it. He's gone over to Real Madrid. He's tried playing that system with 3 at the back. He's now understood that it doesn't work. So what's he gone and done? He's changed it. I've seen him the other week playing 4 at the back because he's adapting to the current players that he has in his squad. And me personally, I just think sometimes with Ruben Amorim, depending on how the ways, how the actual game's swinging, especially if it's in the opposition's favour, he does need to tweak it sometimes. And I felt he needed to do that in the last 20 minutes of the Fulham game, where it should have been a back 4 with 3 in the middle and then 3 up top or 2 at top with a 4 in the midfield. That's just my opinion, though.
Listen, Ruben Amorim has said he will not change, okay? Well, that could be his downfall. That's what a lot of people out there say. You need to change, you need to adapt. You need to change your opinion on how you look at the how to play football, especially with what you've got, okay? But he's determined to stick to what he's got because he believes he's going to be given the opportunity by Ratcliffe to bring in the players to suit his system. And that will only take time.
Yeah, look, I need to see improvements this season, but I've not got major doubts about the system. What I've got doubts about is that we've not got the players in this squad to play it.
That's right.
And I do look at, especially that midfield too, where you do need them specialist players in there as well. And you only look at Manchester City last season. They're holding midfielder. We're having the same trouble there. A ball-winning midfielder, someone who also can dictate the play. Rodri, as soon as he fell out of there, got injured, look at what happened to Manchester City.
Bang.
And that was just one player. And I do feel that if we had that one player in there in that midfield, you'd see a huge difference in there. And you might see a difference as well with Bruno Fernandes in there. Who knows? But I just feel we need specialist players in this system, and I don't think we've got that yet. I still think we need at least 2 or 3 in there.
Right.
Good transfer window, by the way, with Sesko, Cunha and Mbeumo. I think it's a great start, but more additions are needed.
Right, but at the end of the day, everybody out there, us on here, we all know we needed that holding midfielder. We needed him at the end of the season, and this club has not dealt with it. So that is what's frustrating, annoying, and baffling. Why didn't they go and get it? Why did they leave it so late? And then knowing that they wanted to go and get Belieber and didn't even have enough money to go and get him. Because to go and get the specialist player, right, you need top money to go and get him. Simple as. Yeah. So that is another annoyance. That is where the fans are in uproar about it, and quite rightly, and every right to scream and shout. So we might have to go through another season, right, without getting the one player in what fits the system. Okay, and we all know he should have been got in, and we haven't gone and got him. So that is a failure, an absolute failure on the manager and on the club for not getting it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, really positive around the signings that they've actually made this summer. I've got to say that. But they knew going into this transfer window, they needed a striker and wanted one. And one of the first targets was Liam Delap. So if that's the case, why has Rasmus Højlund then continued to stay at the club for as long as he has done? And we've quite clearly seen it in the recent matchday squads that he's surplus to requirements. Why wasn't that bit of business done at the start of the window? Got that deal sorted out? Maybe have possibly got some money in so we can actually go out and invest in this summer's transfer window. The same with the goalkeeper. I mean, they've left it for 2 games there to see the mistakes and the possible future mistakes, to then see that, right, we need a goalkeeper coming in now. But that seems to have gone quiet a little bit with Lamans from Royal Antwerp. But I'm still confident that we'll get that deal done. Let's keep confident with that one. I'm just quickly going to go into the chat because there's a few of you banging off there in the chat, which is great to see. Stephen from our members club has gifted 5 memberships. Big thank you to Stephen in the chat, the 5 people who've been gifted them memberships. James Black has also gifted 5. Big thank yous to James Black from our members club as well. Same again, the 5. Big thank you to James. Fred Cranham has also gifted 5. Big thank you to Fred the Red, the legend. The same again, the 5 people. Big thank you to Fred. And yeah, now I forgot where I'm up to.
Well, it was on about like transfers and everything else like that. It's just like they should have got in, and that's the failure. And we can all see the failure. You know, it's hit and miss. You know, some days we can turn around and praise the men in suits for doing the right thing. Yeah. But the plan was in place. Well, this plan to me looked, at this moment in time, looks madness. Because no, let me finish. Because what it is, getting rid of Rasmus Højlund this late is mad. Potentially getting rid of Onana is mad, when you should have got rid of him at the end of the season. To bring in players which then have created a problem because the player who's always on the pitch, Bruno Fernandes, his place was took further up. He's now created a problem for potentially another player, which is Kobbie Mainoo, where we started this conversation off at the very beginning, right? So it doesn't seem as though, like, is there a plan and it's working? At this moment, to me, it doesn't look as though it's working, because we was always told the idea was to sell to buy, and that should have been done with a goalkeeper. It should have been done with Rasmus Højlund. There's two players, for instance, what should have been sold, okay? And then brought in a goalkeeper, brought in a holding midfield player, okay? So for me, the plan is the plan, but it's not worked. Clearly not worked, because where are we? I'll tell you where we are. We're in chaos, right? We're all arguing. We're all saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is right. We're all doubting each other. We're all doubting Ruben Amorim. We're all doubting this squad, right? Because it wasn't fixed. Clearly wasn't fixed.
Ansel, thanks for your chat there, mate. He does actually say this chat is better than our midfield. 100 with a load of laughing emojis. Much appreciated. Everyone's still getting involved with your own opinions. And keep getting them in so we can discuss them throughout today's video. I mean, I do go back to the likes of January. We went and got Dorgu, Aiden Heaven, and the word out of the club was, especially from the likes of Wilcox and Barada, was they're looking and concentrating on the summer transfer window, and they have a plan. And they had a plan in place, whether we got Champions League football or whether we didn't get Champions League football. And the exact words were from Barada, we will execute that plan. The only issue I have is with Rasmus Højlund and the goalkeeper, which he explained before. That should have been sorted at the start of the actual transfer window, not left this long. But again, from the flip side and the positive side, the three players that they've brought in, I think, are top quality players. And once they're settled in to this team, because you can see the likes of Mbumo, he's still not got that match sharpness. He's still not that player what we're seeing at Brentford, but that will come. Cunha started off bright in my eyes. Sesko needs match minutes. Hopefully he gets the game, gets a game and gets 60 minutes at least against Grimsby tonight, and then throw him in against Burnley. So, you know, let's give a little bit of patience here, because it is up to the men in suits in the background as well to give Amorim he desperately wants, because we're all screaming for the same players, a midfielder and a goalkeeper, but they've not arrived yet. I mean, that's not Amorim's fault. That's the people in the background. So let's just have a little bit of patience around Amorim. We've seen some positives there, which I mentioned before, around certain individual players over the last 2 games. So let's wait and see. I've been patient. I've stuck to it for a long time now. There might be certain things that I don't like what the club's doing, and there might be certain things that I do like from the club. But my stance is, and it will be, I'm giving this to Jim Ratcliffe, the lads in the background, whoever you want to call it, the men in suits, as you say. They've got 18 months. They've got 2 years in my eyes. There's a plan. It's not going to be fixed overnight with the people that have been running this club for the amount of years that they've been doing it from the top to the bottom. Woodward, Arnold, the Glazers are still here. I mean, there's a lot of repair work still to do, and they're slowly trying to fix that. So for me, ideally, realistically, shall I say, 18 months, 2 years, then looks back on it, and then let's judge who's made mistakes or who's improved Manchester United.
It's very hard to talk about patience after a season we've just gone through.
But that means like a smack in the mouth. Because
I'm talking to them also, Kieron, right? And it is very hard for everyone to have patience after going through a humiliating season and the end of season Europa League Cup final, okay? And we expected change, and we expected everything like Sancho, Garnacho, the bomb squad, all out, and we expected players to be brought in, the right players, okay? And players have been neglected. We haven't sorted it, right? But that's because of the financial situations. So patience is very thin at the moment, and it's very hard to have going forward a lot of patience. But we're football fans. That's how we are. A game tonight, cheer us up. A win on Saturday against Burnley, that'll cheer us up. We've got the break, the international break. This club then can reset, and then hopefully we can see something different. But it's going to be very, very tough because the games coming up after the international break might test our patience, and I'm sure it will do.
Marcus Stevenson, welcome to our members club, my mate. Mickey the View Moo says, listen to your dad laughing face. Phil Berry says, Kieron's getting told off loads today. I mean, yeah, I've been sacked about 4 or 5 times if you're long-term viewers who've been watching our channel, but I've still always made a comeback. I've put it in training, so to speak. I've been fighting day in, day out to get myself back onto the channel, but I understand where I am. My dad, Tony and Webby, they're the gaffers, and hopefully we'll make a good team, the 3 of us as well, for you out there.
I understand where he is, and I guarantee you this. If it goes pear-shaped, and when I mean pear-shaped, right, if we don't win in 90 minutes, he's not coming on the after match tonight because he will blow up. I've had to listen to him, right, talking about this game, what it means, what score he's expecting. We've got goal scorers. We need to see goals. We all know that, right? This is an opportunity for that. But I guarantee tonight I will be doing a match reaction on my own.
Yeah, but I've made it pretty clear to you today in the video, the 2 non-negotiables this week. We've got to beat Grimsby and we've got to beat Burnley. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I'm sure everyone else out there is thinking the same as well. I mean, if you can't get 3 points against Burnley, I mean, a lot of people out there, the media, are their favourites to go down this season. I mean, Grimsby as well. I mean, all due respect to them. I mean, United should be putting 2 or 3 past them.
Well, we want goals, and that's what we want. And if we don't see goals tonight, and quite rightly, we'll be asking questions. Yeah. You know, £200 million spent. So at the end of the day, we need goals. This is an opportunity. He has to put the right people in. He has to put Sesko in for a start, and we need to score goals. That's what we want to see.
Okay, another super chat from Ray Carl Brown. Thanks for your super chat, my mate.
Cheers, my mate.
Much appreciated. Problem with us, we are never ready for the start of the season. We always have little points at the start because we never get players in early, and I can't really disagree with you with what we've said about Rasmus Højlund and the goalkeeper situation, etc.
Well, this is the other side of it. Yeah. What Kieron says, patience. Yeah. We should have patience, but it's in short supply after a terrible year, what we had. And I do understand that. And I sort of like lost a little bit of patience myself once or twice since the season started. But it's understandable.
Yeah, it is. But I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today. Fred Cranham says, great chat, great channel. Keep it up, lads. Much appreciated for your kind words, mate. And every single one of you out there who subscribe to support the channel, smash that like button and continue to watch us day in, day out. It's much appreciated, I can tell you that. But we'll be back straight after the game tonight with a Manchester United win against Grimsby. I'll be on the actual match. Don't you worry about that. So come and join us, get that notification on, and we'll see you soon. Take care, and we'll see you tonight. Thank you all.
Thank you.